It will be interesting where they put Notre Dame. I'm assuming they'll be in the top 10, but we'll see. That's Cincinnati's best win.
Ooh, no, I don't think.
Okay.
Maybe top 15. I don't think they'd break top
Oh God, SMU's not going to be in it because they would have been right
15.
here
No.
at best.
NC State is a good, solid team for the most part. They're not bad. Ole Miss.
Kentucky's kind of high still for losing. To who'd they lose to? Mississippi State.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, because they have the
but
head-to-head, so they put
well,
them one
they lost
above.
to Georgia.
Well, yeah, Georgia. But I meant who they just lost to,
Yeah,
which was
they lost to
Mississippi
Georgia.
State.
You're right.
Ole
Yeah, yeah,
Miss
yeah.
is still
Well,
kind of
it's
high,
not
but
a
I
bad
mean,
loss.
I guess their two losses were the top 15 teams. So
Yeah, they got beat by Auburn and Alabama.
yeah,
Yeah, so those are two really good losses. So I can see why they're 16. I want to see where Auburn's at. Probably like
I will they
12,
crack top 10 or
maybe.
would they be at like 11 or something? I wonder.
I think somewhere around 11 to 12 is my guess.
Dude, Mississippi State 17 is insane. You know they're 5-3, but they've beaten who they beat? They beat Texas A&M and Kentucky,
They beat.
and Texas A&M's
Yeah,
going to be in the top 15 because they beat Alabama. Here we go. Wow,
here we go.
wow, they're 15.
Oh,
Are they that high in the AP? I thought they were like near 20 in the AP, but maybe not. I thought OSU and Baylor would be in the top
no, they
10
were
if
like
I'm being honest.
19.
And Auburn's
I
not in the
thought
top 10
OSU would be
either.
9 and Baylor 10.
That's what I thought too. I thought they'd be in the top 10, 8 and 9 or 9 and 10.
Ooh, okay.
This is interesting. Auburn's only at 13.
They're
I thought
really
they may
going
be
head to
higher.
head. They're really paying attention to the head to head.
Then that probably means Oregon's ahead of Ohio State.
That'd be hilarious, but we'll have to see. A&M 14, Auburn. Okay, and Auburn A&M play this weekend. That's going to be a really good game to
It's
see.
huge because if A&M won and Auburn beat Alabama, then A&M would be in the championship game. Or if Auburn beats A&M and Alabama, then they'll be in the championship. So it's kind of crazy.
Against Georgia.
Against Georgia, yep. And Auburn's
Yeah,
not bad. They're kind of doing better now. We'll know by on this Texas A&M game if they like stomp them, then that'll be crazy. Yeah, Baylor versus
yeah.
OU
I think they can
next
contest on them.
Saturday, so that'll be crazy.
That's going to be scary too.
Yeah, and if Baylor
If you're
wins
Oklahoma,
out
you might be a little
or
scared.
Oklahoma State wins out, they could make the playoffs. It's not very likely, but like if a couple teams lose, like if Alabama did lose to Auburn or Texas A&M, that'd help them a ton.
Yes.
Yeah, and OSU and
Let's
Baylor are
see where
playing
number
for a New Year's
2
Six bowl too. Like even if they
is.
did lose to
Ooh,
OU, it's the highest ranked team not in the playoffs. Here
right.
we
And that'd be
go.
fun bowl to watch
Oh,
too.
they
Yeah,
did
I
one
would
at a
love it.
time. Okay, I forgot about that.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Notre Dame at
Notre Dame
10.
at
They did crack
10.
the top 10. Okay.
Barely. Okay.
Yeah, they don't think Notre Dame's gonna lose again, so they'd be 11-1, I think, because they wouldn't play conference championship.
Right.
I don't know their schedule, but I'm assuming it's not super hard.
No.
Yeah, they said they're heavily favored, so yeah, they're probably good favorites in all of them.
They finished 11-1.
No,
That'll help
wow,
Cincinnati.
there they are. Wake Forest, the Demon
Wake Forest
Deacons.
at 9.
They weren't even 10. I thought they'd be 10.
Wow.
You gotta
I
respect
thought
them
they'd
being
be in the top
undefeated.
15. I didn't think they'd crack top 10.
I
You
thought they
do.
may crack 10, and they did. I mean, they cracked it in
That's
9.
crazy.
That's even better
They're
than I thought.
9.
Seeing
Yeah.
who 7
They
and
did way
6
better
is
than
will
I
be
thought.
huge because it's gonna one has to be Oregon or Ohio State unless they have like something crazy like OU or Cincinnati all the way down at 7 or something. But obviously 6 will be huge too.
I'm kind of shocked.
I mean, they're undefeated, but they're about to play their hardest part of their schedule. And if they stay undefeated, dude, if Wake
Yeah.
Forest made the playoffs, that'd be
Just like
insane.
OU.
Yeah, OU and Wake Forest, and like Georgia and Cincinnati, that'd be the craziest playoffs. There's no way that'll happen though.
Who's number 8? That's scary. I hate that they do it one by one now.
Yep. And they take forever
You
between
got
the
to string it
picks.
out
Oh, here we go.
somehow.
Number 8. Who is it? Because I feel like we should already
And we're
know
at
who it
number 8.
is. Wow, never mind. Holy crap. That's actually a surprise.
Ooh,
That is
that's
actually
a
a
big
surprise. They
shocker.
actually surprised me.
OU at 8.
That's crazy. Wow, that's actually very surprising. I thought they'd be 6 at worst.
Man,
They value the eye test over everything else. Yeah, that's insane. That's why I don't like the eye test, but that means that's insane. I mean, obviously they'll get in if they win
it means
out.
OU is gonna have to
Well,
win
they'll
out.
have
Yeah,
to
they're
win
gonna
out.
have
They're gonna
to.
have to anyways. That means they have Oregon and Ohio State above them. That's crazy. I mean, I'm fine with it, I guess, because they haven't won by a lot. But I mean, they're the only 9-0 team in the country, and I feel like there's never been a 9-0 Power Five team at 8 before. But I don't know. I don't remember
In
looking
the
at the
first
first
week.
ones. But
It's hard to say.
they're the only 9-0 team, and they're sitting at 8. Does that mean
Oh,
I don't know? Yeah, they have Michigan above them. That's who is supposed to be at 8. I don't agree with that
yeah.
actually. If you're gonna have OU that low, put them at 7. I know they lost to a top
Yeah,
10
I
team,
don't
but
think
besides
Michigan.
that, they hadn't played anyone.
You think that makes you a top 4 team?
Who? MSU? Yeah, they'll probably top 4. I
Yeah.
bet it's gonna be Ohio State, and Oregon in that order next.
That would be kind of funny
Michigan
to
State's got to
see.
be top 4.
If they're
There's no
going,
way.
but if they're going eye test over everything else, they might do it different. I don't know.
If they're doing eye test, Ohio State definitely should not be in the top 4 because they barely won their first like 3 or 4 games against pretty bad teams.
They've been doing a lot better.
Yeah, they've been doing
Until
a lot better recently, but if they do the
Penn
whole season,
State,
you got to
they
punish them some. They got to be at 6
people
or
really thought
7
they were
or
gonna
5
blow
or
out
6.
Penn State, and they didn't. They only won by
No,
like
Penn
9.
State has. I don't know. I don't know if their defense is good or what was going on because they did not do that against. Well, I guess they did hold Indiana to not very many points, I guess. So I don't know. I don't know what to
So
think of Penn
Penn State
State.
didn't make it, did they?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Because they're definitely not in the top 5 or top 6. Oh, they're gonna go to.
Yeah, that's
They're
insane.
gonna take a little break between the top 6. Looks like
Yep.
they actually found a way to surprise me. Wow. They've if
Putting
OU's
OU at
anywhere
8.
between 1 and 6, I wasn't, or 2 and 6, not 1, 2 and 6, then I wouldn't have been surprised. But Michigan being above them, like that's
Them at
insane.
8 is
Yeah, this should
low.
be Ohio
Low, low,
State.
low.
Oh, I thought they put Georgia at 6. I was about to crap myself. I forgot they do it 1 through 6 at the top. I think's how they do it. Freaking
Georgia
Georgia
at
at
1,
6.
which is
That would have been
obvious.
hilarious.
That would have been goddamn hilarious.
Cincinnati,
It's
will they
obvious
be in the
Georgia's
top
number
4?
1.
Number 2 will be huge if they
I
put
don't
like
know.
Alabama or Cincinnati or Michigan State maybe number 2. There's no way it's Cincinnati unless they want to put Alabama at 2. But they gotta be 3 or 4. I would not put Alabama at 2.
You think they'll
I think it's Michigan State.
here's number 2.
Oh my god. Why am I not
Of
surprised?
course it
Like I'm not
is.
surprised, but that's kind of I don't know. That's
No, I don't agree with it.
I don't either. I mean, you have a loss to a team that has 2 losses. I don't care how good you played. You can't be 2. You can be top 4, but you can't be number 2. You struggled for 3 quarters against Tennessee. You almost lost to Florida. You did lose to Texas A&M. You just can't be 2. Michigan State should be above them.
But where are they going to throw Oregon then? Because that means Oregon's a top 6, which is huge,
They should be
right?
5 unless they have Cincinnati all the way at 6.
Because them taking Oklahoma out of it pushes Oregon up into here somewhere.
Yeah, they like took Oklahoma out and just slotted them way down. They're like not even in the conversation. Oh, there they are. Michigan State at 3.
Wow, that's good. I like seeing MSU at 3.
They need to
I agree
flip
with that.
Alabama and Michigan State for sure.
Yeah,
Well, I know people say that if Alabama loses, they'll be out, but I mean, we've seen them not play in the conference championship and get in, so we'll see.
but Alabama only gets in if they beat Georgia, so
Yeah, and they still have to beat a bunch of other teams too, obviously. I know Georgia's gonna
they have to
drop
win
it to
out
them.
and
I
beat
just have
Georgia.
a feeling they're gonna play like a really bad game out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
probably.
Michigan State really should be too. They literally beat a top 10 team, a top 10 undefeated team.
Last
Like,
week?
yeah, literally
Last
last
week.
week, but I guess it just don't matter. I don't think Cincinnati's going to be in 4. We'll see. It's either
I don't think
Cincinnati
so.
4, Oregon 5, Ohio State 6,
I
or 4
think
is going to be
I'm gonna
probably Ohio
say
State. It better not
I'm gonna
be.
call Ohio State.
Wow.
I'm gonna say Ohio State.
Um,
Oh my
I'm
god!
fine with that
They put
actually.
Oregon?
Yeah, I think I'm fine with it. Since Cincinnati
I
struggled
like
for
it.
2 weeks in a row, and they need the
No,
head-to-head
that's
against Ohio. So
cool.
Ohio State's 5 and
That's
what's Ohio
fucking
State's 5
crazy.
and Cincinnati 6. Which Cincinnati's probably not going to make the playoffs unless these teams lose. Because OU would definitely
Yeah.
jump them. I feel like even though
Jesus.
OU's lower, I think if OU went out, they'd jump them. They're about to play 3, well,
That's
at least 2
fucked.
ranked teams. Well, what's going on? Do you not want Oregon there?
I just think that's cool. No, I think
Uh,
it's super cool. I didn't expect it at all.
there's some crazy stuff going on.
I figured Oregon would be down at like 8 or 9.
Ohio State's going to be 5. There's no way they'll put Ohio State too low. I mean, maybe they'll punish them because they don't have Penn State in their rankings. So technically, they barely beat a team that they don't even have ranked. So maybe they'll drop them to 6. It is Cincinnati's all the way at 6.
Yep.
I think that means they won't make the playoffs
No, it's gonna be tough.
unless all these teams above them lose and OU loses. They won't make it.
Ohio State has to get beat by a Michigan team because that's probably the only team they'll end
Oh
up
yeah,
losing
one of
to.
the now Ohio State and Michigan
Alabama's
will
gotta
play, so one of
lose.
those two will drop. Now, if Alabama beats Georgia, I think Georgia's still getting over Cincinnati, so Alabama would have to lose to Georgia
Yeah. Alabama has to lose, and Ohio State has to, or
or Michigan
one of those
State,
teams has
depending
to
on how
lose. It's gonna
Michigan
be
State does the rest of the year.
yeah.
Let's see what Kirk thinks.
What's Kirk think?
I knew Cincinnati probably wouldn't make the top 4 just because they don't like Group of 5 teams, and they've struggled the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's right, dude. They got 3 of their hardest games in a row right at the end.
Now, if OU beats Baylor convincingly, would they just like rock it up? Do you think? Do you think they'd go like all the way up to like 5 or
They
4
beat him
off that one
convincingly.
win?
If they beat him convincingly.
You think they jump all the way to
Yes,
like 4 or 5?
but if it's a close game, I don't think so.
Even then, a
They
close
have to
game to
really beat the
number
shit out of Baylor.
12 or something, like they'd have to jump Michigan at some point 'cause that's 3 decent teams in a row. At least 2 of them. I know Iowa
Yeah,
State's not really, since they lost, they're not as good anymore in terms of record, but they're still decent. Oh, here's Notre Dame's schedule: Navy, Virginia, Georgia Tech, and oh yeah, they should be able to win out.
yep.
Yeah, 7 through 10 is kind of more controversial than 1 through 6 right now.
I think so.
Because OU's going to play their 11th and 12th team unless they lose before they play OU, obviously. Because OSU does play West Virginia, and
Right,
you saw what they did to Iowa State.
right.
So you don't want to sleep
That's
on West
true, but
Virginia.
no. And Baylor
I don't know
beat
who they play.
Texas, but only by a touchdown.
Touchdown.
I don't Baylor plays who does Baylor play? They play TCU and then OU and then K-State. Baylor should win out except for OU.
What are you talking about? Baylor should win out except
Baylor
for
should
maybe
either
OU.
yeah, or they'll win out completely. One or the other is gonna
Okay.
happen, but I
Because
don't
are
see
they
them
playing
losing
really
to any of
easy
the other teams
teams?
because they play yeah, they play TCU, Texas Tech, and OU,
Yeah,
and
TCU and
K-State.
Texas Tech are in turmoil right now.
Yeah, the only one that's not is K-State, I think.
Question is, if Texas A&M loses to
Okay, well, that
Auburn,
was
would Alabama get punished since they lost to Texas A&M? Or I'm certain not. Like they'll lose state number 2 until,
well, they
or
gotta look
unless
at common
Michigan
opponents, don't
State.
they?
Yeah, why is there a common opponent
A&M is the common opponent.
between who, them, and Auburn? Or are
Yeah,
you talking about? Well, Auburn has 2
it will
losses
be.
though.
Yeah, but still, I think it would shoot them up if they beat A&M a little
Oh
bit.
no, they definitely move up, but they're not gonna move them like I just wonder if they'd punish Alabama if Texas A&M like fell a bunch, like they dropped another game or two. Because they did lose to an unranked team, a team that was
Okay, well,
unranked at the time.
that was interesting.
It was. I definitely have. I'm waiting because I think they're still going to talk a little bit more. Kind of wait until they're
Oh,
done
are they? I don't know.
talking. Yeah, in about 50 seconds, there's a timer.
They're doing an interview with the chair.
Yeah, I kind of do want to hear the reasoning because I guarantee they're going to bring up Cincinnati, OU, maybe Oregon. I doubt it though. Mainly Cincinnati and OU are the ones that are like surprising at how low they are.
OU is very surprising.
Especially
8
since they
for a
just
9-0
especially
undefeated
since
team.
they just won convincingly finally.
Yeah, they just blew out Texas Tech, who was better than Kansas.
Yeah.
So I find
I
it.
mean,
I
they're
don't know what
using
they're looking
Toledo,
at
or not
exactly.
Toledo, Tulane's a common opponent, but Tulane was using their third string quarterbacks. I don't think you can even use that. And they played them close with their third string. What would happen if their main quarterback was in? No one really talks about
Yeah,
the
OU played him with their
injuries
main quarterback,
in his first game of the season,
and they're supposed to look at it.
Supposed to
And
look
they're
at
not supposed to look
injuries,
at
I'm
win
pretty
margins
sure.
anyways.
Yeah, they're not supposed to like win margins, but they are, I'm sure.
It seems like they are.
Yeah, Cincinnati beat a top 10 Notre Dame
My
team.
ass.
I mean, who else does Ohio State beat besides Penn State, who's not even in your rankings? I don't think they played. Like Minnesota may have been in the rankings, but that's true.
I do think so. I think it's true. Yeah.
They
I
don't
think
have
it's a little disrespectful,
SMU
but
ranked,
still.
which I think is going to screw
Right.
Cincinnati in the long run.
I'm glad they put Oregon over Ohio
Yeah,
State.
head to head really should be right up there with the strength of record.
I think head to head should be one of the top things to
I'd
consider.
say, what's their, how many wins and losses do they have, and have they played each other? Oh, look, even all their stats are higher too. Better strength
Oh
of
yeah, they got a
schedule
higher
and
strength of
strength of
record and
record.
a higher strength of schedule.
That's kind of crazy because the
Damn.
Pac-12 is not very good.
Yeah, for them to have that good of a strength of schedule, that's
So that
crazy to
probably means
me.
they would put Oregon at
22nd?
5 anyways. If Ohio State would have beat them, Oregon maybe
Yeah,
number
I think
5
you're
or
right.
something. They would have been in the top 10 for sure.
I'm waiting to see what he says about OU.
Yeah, because I mean they got to talk about them.
You can't not putting him at 8 undefeated.
Oh crap, he's
What's their
leaving.
strength
I
of
think he's
schedule?
leaving. I don't know. Yeah, I
What the
kind of want to
fuck?
see. I wonder if you can like look up their stuff. Yeah, he's leaving. What did they talk about? What 2 teams did they talk about? Alabama and Michigan State, and that was it, pretty much. That's interesting.
Cincinnati.
Oh, it's Cincinnati. That's what it was. They
And,
talked a tiny bit about Michigan State, but
yeah,
not much. Mainly
and
Alabama
Oregon.
and
They talked about
Cincinnati.
Oregon and Ohio
Oh, and the
State.
Oregon head to head. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that being
Yeah, he didn't talk about
undefeated doesn't
OU.
carry as much weight as it usually does, because they have what,
No.
3 or
All
2 of
right,
the
well,
top
that's
4
that.
teams have lost. Yeah, I'll make sure this is it, but I think it probably is. I mean, I guess let me get your, what's your biggest surprise? One team that's ranked where you didn't think they would be at all.
Well, OU and Oregon is the other one. I did not expect Oregon to
Well,
be
I
that
mean,
high.
like
I'm
what
glad they
team is
are.
ranked where you don't think they should be and they got it completely wrong? I'd say
Uh,
Oregon. Would Oregon be your biggest surprise if you had to pick one team that surprised you the most at where they're ranked?
Oregon was a very pleasant surprise, but it was a
Okay, and
huge
now which
surprise,
team do you
yeah.
think was ranked in the like a bad spot that you think they got wrong?
Oh, it's gotta be OU. I think he just put disrespect on OU's name.
Yeah, you can't put them below Michigan. They literally just lost. I know it's a top 10 team, but it's still a loss.
Yeah, I could see him getting put at 7 above Michigan, but being put below Michigan is
Michigan
where
blew a
it
huge
seems like
lead.
they kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, the biggest surprise for me in terms of just a somewhat this biggest surprise, not like a bad spot. It would probably be Oregon being at 4. I thought they were going to be at 5 at best, 5 or 6, and then Ohio State would be one behind them wherever Oregon was at. In terms of the biggest one, yeah, it's probably got to be
I
OU
also think
also.
Alabama is wrong.
Yeah, you can't be number 2 when you almost lost to someone, didn't play good for 3 quarters against
And
someone, and then you did lose
who
to
was
someone.
at the time who was at the time unranked.
Yeah, lost 2 in a row.
Th- They're 14 now or whatever, but they were unranked at the time.
But they're either gonna raise or drop. One of the two this weekend against Auburn. If they lose to Auburn,
Yeah, I hope
then
Auburn
they're
beats
gonna
them.
drop.
They're
Probably
out. They
not
have to be
much
out.
unless they get blown out.
I hope Auburn wins. I hope Jordan. If not, I hope Georgia beats them in the championship because then they're not in it at all. I don't want to see another playoff with Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of expect Georgia to end up choking it. I just have a feeling. I don't know why. I just have a feeling
You're
like they
probably
should
right.
win. They have the talent to win, but I think they're gonna choke it and lose.
Everybody's talking about how Cincinnati's disrespected, and nobody's saying anything about Oklahoma.
Well, most people didn't want OU ranked very high. The general consensus is that OU's been overrated.
Overrated.
Because like I
Yeah,
watch a bunch of
which
like
may
shows where they predict like where or like not where they think people should be, and pretty much all the comments are saying that OU shouldn't even be in the top 10 in that. I doubt people are going to be too
and we'll
surprised
see.
or
May
not
they may
surprised,
or
but
may not be
disagree.
overrated. We'll have to see in the next four
Yeah, we'll
weeks.
know if OU was not really overrated, but like not top 4 material, and not this weekend, but next weekend. Because if they beat Baylor, even if it's barely, I mean, that's still a win against
We'll,
what their
we'll
number
see for
12
sure
team.
next week.
You better freaking jump Michigan if they beat Baylor.
No,
Because once a
yeah, who
team's
is
in the
Ohio
top
State beating other
4,
than Penn State?
yeah, once they're in the top 4, you can't really drop them out if they win. So that's why they didn't put Cincinnati in the top 4, which I assume they probably wouldn't. So Michigan State wins out, they're in. But I mean that's obvious because that means they beat Ohio State in that. And if Oregon wins
Yeah,
out, can you
oh,
say that you can drop Oregon? Like, can you punish a team for winning? Or can you really drop them, I guess? Because obviously they punish some teams for winning, but that's now that the rankings are out, can you punish them for winning?
I don't think
That's the
so.
question. If not, and Alabama beats
No.
Georgia, that top 4 would not even shift. Well, it'd shift, but it'd be the same 4. That's the question. Can OU and Cincinnati even get into the playoffs if those top 4 teams all win and Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship? Because how can they jump a team that didn't lose? This is really interesting. And can Ohio State even get in? Probably, because they'll have a way better
Dude.
record after they play all these ranked teams. Well, I forgot Ohio State and Michigan State play. But if Michigan State beat Ohio State, then it's the same situation.
Oh God. Somebody said Michigan should be number one. Last week was a fluke. That's about the most retarded thing I've ever
Yeah,
heard.
I can't believe they only dropped one spot after losing. I understand it was a top 10 team, but
Where's
you still
UTSA?
lost.
UTSA didn't get ranked.
No,
UTSA didn't get ranked at all. But I mean, who do they play?
I really feel like
Uh,
if it plays out, OU could go 12-0 and not even make it unless they push a team out that didn't even lose. Obviously, if a team loses, like if Michigan
I don't
State
know because
loses,
well, I think the only reason that they're ranking them low right now is because they haven't played all the good teams in the Big 12 yet.
yeah,
I think once
but
they
if they went out, who are you gonna push out?
play them, if they win, then they can
Yeah,
make huh?
who are you gonna
I
push
think that's
out
where
if
it comes down to
everyone
strength
wins
of
and
schedule.
OU wins out? Who would
Well,
like
you gotta look at
if Michigan State beats Ohio State? You can't drop Michigan State. If Oregon wins out, Alabama beats Georgia, would you drop Georgia out or they go in at 4? Oh, here's Heather. Let's see what she
Georgia would go at
says.
4, but you gotta also think about the Big Ten. There's like 2 or 3 Big Ten teams, like, right there. So,
Yeah, but I'm
one
talking
of them's
about the
getting
top
knocked
five.
out
Like if
because they have
Michigan
Big Ten
State beats
championships.
everyone and wins, they're in. And if Oregon beats everyone, are they going to stay in or are they
Yeah,
going to drop?
100%. But at the same time, if they beat everyone, Ohio State's way out of it because 'cause they'll have 2 losses. Um, Oregon or if one's getting pushed out, it would probably be Oregon if
Wow.
OU wins out.
They just said they're impressed by OU's quarterback switch. So where in the world would OU have been ranked if they didn't switch and they're undefeated? Yeah,
See,
they're doing strength of schedule and like just bleeping out all the records and only doing strength of schedule and head to head. That's literally what this ranking looks like. Even then, is Alabama's strength of schedule really that good? Like they played
no,
certain
Alabama hasn't
ranked
beaten
teams, but
anybody.
I mean, Ole Miss just dropped because they lost again. I know they have injuries, but they still dropped.
Let's see, who has Alabama beat that's really good?
Ole Miss is
Yeah,
probably the best one. Mississippi
just Ole
State,
Miss.
which was ranked. They're not good. They have like 3 losses, but they are ranked.
Yeah, I don't think they're good enough though. It's not a great win.
Yeah.
Mississippi Ole Miss is a good, but then they lose to A&M right afterwards. That's an unranked team. They
Yes.
beat Mississippi State, sure, and then they struggle a little bit against Tennessee until towards the end. They didn't look great to begin with, though.
Yeah, almost lost to Florida, who
But
Georgia
then they
dominated.
pulled away. They almost lost to Florida. They only won by a field goal, and Georgia kicked their ass. It just depends, but the only I mean, they play Arkansas and Auburn, but Arkansas is not good, and but Auburn
No.
is, so maybe it's gonna come down to whether or not they beat Auburn.
All it comes down to is can they make it to this SEC championship and can they beat Georgia? If what if Alabama loses to? Well,
Because if
no,
they
they
don't beat
can't.
Georgia,
If
they're
they
out.
lose to anyone, they wouldn't make the SEC championship game because Texas A&M would get the head to head if they went out. So it's pretty much they either beat Georgia and get in or they don't get in. There's no chance where they lose in the
If
regular season
Auburn wins
again.
out, right?
Yeah, because
If
then it'd be
Auburn wins
Auburn
out,
versus
they get
Georgia.
in the SEC championship. Yeah. Next week, this weekend's gonna be interesting line of football.
Yeah,
These
and
next like four
especially the
weeks are
next
gonna be
couple weeks,
very
obviously,
interesting to
because yeah,
watch.
it's the end of the season. They're getting near the end of the season. All these Big Ten teams are gonna play. Michigan's gonna end up dropping, but no one's worried about Michigan getting into the top 4. I doubt. They're just like a placeholder. I
No,
don't even know
no.
why in the world they're that high. That's just insane.
Michigan shouldn't be no, yeah, you're right.
Wow, what a surprise! Alabama's the highest ranked one-loss team in the initial rankings ever.
Yeah, well, it's the Alabama bias. It's always existed, man, for the last
Like, I
several
understand they
years,
are good, but you can't go off, oh, they're good. You got to go off what they've done.
and they're not as good as they like have been years before.
Cincinnati 6 is not surprising to me. I assume they'd be
It's
like
not.
something
I
like
don't know
really high
why.
at like 2 or 3, or they'd be down at 6.
Like everybody on Twitter is freaking out about it, but it's
I
not
don't know why you're
They don't.
surprised. I really don't. Like, not you, but like people are
You're,
surprised.
you're in the AAC. Of course, you're not gonna play any good teams. I mean, the win over Notre Dame's the only thing they have, so
Yeah,
it
because
makes
Indiana's
sense
really
why they're not
bad.
there.
And they're probably not going to play another ranked team this year in terms of college football playoff rankings. I doubt SMU would jump in.
Probably not. I don't think they can unless some people start losing.
Yeah, unless people start losing.
God damn, my dad's freaking out too. So is Mimi
About what?
about this.
About like
They were
who,
watching
like
the
which
rankings.
ones?
OU, and my
At
dad takes
OU,
OSU
yeah.
because we're OSU fans. And he's like, I guessed OSU 9. He said I think 12 or 10. So he was closer. God, Mimi's freaking out too. Uh, OSU 11. They hate OU. I figured 5, not 8. That is ridiculous. They will get beat by Georgia. They shouldn't be second. She's talking about Alabama.
That's the thing.
Bama shouldn't be second.
OU, I don't think can get higher than 4 in the playoffs. If they go undefeated and make it into the playoffs, how are they going to go up to past 4? They'd have to play Georgia in the playoffs, unless like Michigan State. Well, next thing Ohio State would take their place.
Well, Ohio State could still lose to Michigan also.
He thinks OU, if they went out, and Ohio State, Oregon, and who else? And there's no way they'd put. There's no way. Would this be the year that an undefeated
What?
Power 5 team gets left out of the playoffs? He thinks OU would get left out if Oregon wins out, Ohio State wins out, and Cincinnati wins out. He thinks that it would be Georgia, what was it, like Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State, and Cincinnati in the playoffs in that order. No, you'd get left out. I don't think the committee would do
I don't know
that
how they can be left out. No, they can't leave him out.
because they'd if they don't lose, if Baylor doesn't lose this week, which they probably shouldn't. I don't even know if they're playing. I think they are, but it's like a bad team. They'd be if OU won out, they would have beat the 12th ranked team. They'd be Iowa State, who may be ranked by the time they play them, who knows, and they'd beat the 11th ranked team. And Cincinnati would only beat the 10th ranked
I think
team. So I don't know.
Baylor. I believe Baylor plays TCU this
TCU or something.
weekend.
TCU, God, dude, their head coach just got fired or something like that. Like, it's just
Gary,
crazy.
Gary's gone. Steve Sarkisian needs to be gone.
Apparently, Texas just needs to be gone, apparently, because no one can save him yet. If Steve Sarkisian couldn't save him, no one can.
I'm interested, very interested, to see how Baylor play because they play TCU and then they play Oklahoma the week right after. So
Yeah.
OU's game back is Baylor. So from
Yeah,
the
they get a
bye.
bye week finally to get guys back.
Yeah, and then it's Baylor, and then it's Iowa State, and then it's OSU. They've got a big.
If they win those 3 games and win the championship, which would be against another ranked team, because there's no OSU and Baylor drop out if they only lost to OU. They'd have
But they've
three
got to
ranked wins
run
out of their last 4
the gauntlet.
games. There's just no way that the committee would put
They've got to
Cincinnati in above
run the
them. Like, I'm not
gauntlet.
saying Cincinnati shouldn't be above them, but the committee, I don't think, would do it. Obviously, they're above them now, but that's just
Shouldn't.
because OU hasn't played anyone yet.
Yeah, but neither is
Now,
Cincinnati
if
except Notre Dame.
Michigan loses again, or not Michigan, Notre Dame loses again, then there might be that's going to really hurt Cincinnati. Because then they're going to,
Yes.
beat a team that wouldn't have been in the top 10. If the playoff really was Georgia,
Struggled
Oregon,
against
Ohio State, and
Tulane.
Cincinnati, that'd be the craziest playoff ever. An undefeated Power 5 team getting left out.
Well, we'll have to see. Because
I just
it's
want to
really
see all
going
the
to
videos. Obviously,
change
I guess
wildly from
it's
game.
early enough. There'll be some tonight, but mainly tomorrow. Like Heather and all them when they do their ESPN show. Paul Feinbaum will be
Yeah.
talking. Now I think it'll sort itself out.
See, I don't
Something will
know.
probably happen. Something will
I
happen,
think
I'm
OU
sure.
ends up in it if they win out.
If everyone that's above them wins out, besides ones that play each other, would they get in? Like Georgia beats Alabama and like Michigan State beats Ohio State, or Ohio State beats Michigan State. It don't matter because they'd still get in no matter which one of the two wins. It's just whether they'd put OU in above Cincinnati, and they're gonna have to play Georgia no matter what. So they're kind of screwed. Like the only chance would be if they got 2 or
Yeah,
3.
yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, it's just because OU hasn't played anybody. I mean, who have they played?
No one, barely
They
anyone
have
that
a
has above a
gauntlet to
500
run.
record now. Texas, because
Yeah,
Texas only has 500. I
they.
think Kansas State is the only one above 500 that they beat.
God damn. Yeah, they have a gauntlet they have to run, and that's what it is right at the end of the season.
The
and
thing is,
that's
if
where it's
they
gonna
win
make a
though,
difference.
what's the committee gonna do? I think it's done.
Right. Yeah, what is the committee gonna do? If
Can
they
you
win
move a
out,
team all the way from
they
8
beat
all the way into the top 4 if everyone else wins out? I'm sure they'll be like, oh, it's gonna sort itself out. We don't got to worry about it. But
they
you
beat a
never
quality
know.
Baylor team. They beat a pretty decent Iowa State team, and they beat a quality Oklahoma State team.
And they'd
They
play
win.
beat
There's
someone in the
no way
championship
they're
game
not
too.
getting into the playoffs if they win. And then they play championship and win, and that's another quality win. There's no way in fuck they win out, they can't get in the playoffs. That would just be ridiculous.
I don't think
But
an
fighting back
undefeated
from
Power
8
Five
is
team should ever get left out, no matter how. Even if they barely win every
no,
single game, at least they shouldn't be left out unless literally all 4
because they're
teams
not supposed to
above
look at win
them are
margin.
also undefeated. All 4 other Power Five conferences,
Right.
and
Yes.
that's not going to
Sure.
happen, obviously.
Fine, that's fine. No, Alabama's already lost.
Now, if Alabama
Michigan
beats
State will probably
Georgia,
lose.
OU and Cincinnati are probably going to get left out if Oregon and Ohio State went out.
Yeah, no, yeah, they're
There's a thing where
fine.
OU and Cincinnati could both get left out being undefeated at like 5 and 6.
You know how pissed off the world would be if that they're already angry about Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Everybody, if you look on
yeah. If
Twitter.
it's only
Holy
OU,
shit.
they wouldn't care. But if it's OU and Cincinnati, they'd freak out.
Oh, they're so
I'd
pissed.
like to see it just to
It
see
is
the
bad.
outrage of an undefeated Power Five team being left out. This is the perfect example of why the playoffs need to expand. This would be a perfect 8 to 12 team playoff, however many teams you want to do.
Yes.
If they want to do their proposed 12 team playoff, this would be the year to do it.
CFP
Because
ranking
1 through
Alabama number
12,
2, like they got
well,
beat
like
by
2
Georgia
through 12
last
is
second
like
field
close. Like Georgia's kind of by themselves, but 2 through
goal.
12, any team could beat any team on 2 through 12. I think if they got, it kind of just depends. If they all played their best, it wouldn't go that way. But I think I think Baylor could upset Alabama if something crazy happened. If Alabama's had a bad game, got some untimely turnovers or something.
Now, what happens if OU beats Baylor and Iowa State and OSU wins out entirely?
Like they won
What
twice in a
happens?
row. Like they beat OU and won the Big
Yeah,
12 championship. They'd get
if they
left out.
win,
They'd never.
they win out and win Big 12 championship.
They'd be at like 5 or 6, maybe 7.
It would suck though because they fought. It'd be a really hard fight to, but they'd get a New Year's Six bowl,
And yeah, they'd get New Year's 6, but
right?
besides that, they'd never make the playoff unless like every single person above them loses. And some of them might have to lose multiple
Right.
games. You'd have to have like Michigan State lose and then no matter what Ohio State or Michigan State's making it. There's no way one of those two aren't. Even if they both lost again, if one of them beat them, unless I guess Ohio State lost again, then maybe not. But that's probably not gonna happen unless like freaking Michigan comes out and beats Ohio
I
State and then
could
they're in the top
see,
4.
but I could see Oregon losing again because they did lose to Stanford.
Yeah, and I mean they've had close games against really bad opponents too. That's why I'm kind of surprised they put them at 4. Like I'm not mad. I mean it's fine they put them at 4, but they have had some close games.
Some
They
very
lost to
close games,
Stanford,
two
who's
close
unranked.
games.
Almost lost to Cal, who's unranked. Cincinnati, they beat a top 10 team, and they have almost
Only
lost to
beat
2 unranked.
UCLA by a
But
field goal,
yeah,
but then they kicked the shit out of Colorado. But who
yeah.
do they play? They don't really play anyone else that would
No,
even be
no, the
remotely
Pac-12 is
good.
bad. They're
I
not
mean,
going to play another ranked team. That's why I'm wondering if Oregon may drop
Washington,
out.
Wash State, Utah, and Oregon State, so they don't play
It
anybody else.
depends if they move Ohio State ahead of Oregon. The worst playoff ever would be like Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and Michigan State. Because it could happen, and no one would
That
want
would be
that.
stupid.
No one besides the fans
The
that
only
are of
team
those
that I agree
teams.
with, Georgia. I do like Michigan State being in there. I
Yeah,
don't like
Michigan
Alabama
State
being in
deserves
there,
to
and
be
I
in the
don't like
top
Ohio.
4. Oregon, I'm fine with them being in the top 4
No,
for now because
that
they
one is
beat Ohio State.
things will change as the
But
games
there
go
is
on.
a way where OU and Cincinnati are left out at like 5 and 6, and both are undefeated. There is a way that that can happen because of how they release these rankings. Like it's not a big deal because it could sort itself out, but it could also, come back to bite OU and Cincinnati by being put out this low.
Well, what happens if Michigan State wins out? They go undefeated. They're surely in there.
Michigan State or Ohio
That
State's
kicks
in no
out
matter
Ohio State.
what.
So
Yeah, but yeah, it's pretty much Michigan State's going
Oklahoma
to
would
win
have
out and get
to
in,
go
or Ohio State's going to beat Michigan State in there, and one of those two are in no matter what. Georgia's in no matter what, unless they
right,
lose a game that they're not
Michigan
going to.
but if Michigan State beats Ohio State has 2 losses, they can't be in the top 5 anymore. They have to go down probably even below Oklahoma.
But yeah, they
So that
would.
kicks them out. I think OU can easily jump Cincinnati because
That's the thing.
Cincinnati
OU
doesn't
still
play
wouldn't be
anybody.
in there. They're
OU
still
plays
at
3.
5. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're 5 or 6. If you're
I'll
not
put
in, you're not in.
but but Georgia beats Alabama. That opens up a slot for the next person to
Yeah,
5,
if
which would
Georgia
be
did beat
OU to put them at
Alabama, there's a
4.
chance.
But if
But
Alabama beats Georgia,
pretty much
then
everyone's
it's gonna be
predicting Ohio State to beat Michigan State, and then they just both get in, unless Ohio State demolishes Michigan State, or Michigan State drops the game, which they could. I mean, there's a chance.
yeah.
All you have to have is like one
I
team to
don't know.
drop a game they're not supposed to, and this will change everything. And easily OU or Cincinnati or
Exactly.
both could lose a game. Doesn't matter to who, and they'll both be out.
Cody said, "Where did Clemson fall in the CFP?"
I think they fell
Clemson ain't
from
in
out
there.
of the top 25 to out of the top 25. This is probably the first time like ever they haven't been in the top 25. Maybe in
Yeah,
2014
what's
they weren't.
up with
I'm not
Clemson?
sure. I can't remember. 'Cause I know they were in the playoffs in 2014, but
Clemson.
I'm not sure if they're in the top 25 or not. But no one expected them to be. If anyone's outraged about that, then they need to calm down.
God, there's a lot of games to watch this weekend.
Yep. You don't play, so I don't gotta watch
And
anything. Or at least I don't gotta even worry about that.
no, I'm gonna watch all of them at the same time.
I'm definitely gonna watch the Auburn one
Clemson.
because that's important, very important.
Yeah, who does Alabama play? Yeah.
Yeah, because they just had a bye week, so they have to play. They're not playing anyone, I doubt.
Who have they beat though?
Ole Miss and Texas, or no, not Texas A&M. Ole Miss and who's the other rank? And Mississippi State are their best 2 wins. They're both in the top 25 as of right now.
Yeah. No, they lost to Ole Miss. LSU didn't. And
I
to
thought even
Kentucky.
Alabama.
No,
LSU's
I'm talking
lost
about
to a lot of
LSU.
people. They beat Florida,
But LSU
I
beat Florida,
think. Yeah, I thought
and
they
they
did.
beat Mississippi State, but they lost to Auburn, Kentucky, Ole Miss. So I feel like they're gonna get shit on by
Oh
Alabama, but we'll
yeah,
see.
they're not good. Ed Orgeron's out after this season.
World Series is coming up.
It
I
is.
think it's already started.
It has. Or I think it has. I don't know. I don't pay close attention. I know teams are playing, but I don't know if it's technically the World Series or them trying to get into it. I think it's the World Series though.
It's Astros and the Braves for the championship.
Oh, it's already in the championship.
Braves lead
Wow.
3-2. Yeah, and the Braves it's game 6. Braves leading 3-2. If they win tonight, it's over.
I'm trying to see all these reactions. I feel like everyone's just about, oh no, Cincinnati's not in the top 4, and then that's like all they're going to talk about. We'll see though. I understand where they're coming from, but I mean, you did play 2 close games to pretty bad people, and so you can't be that mad. They're both like only had 1 win apiece, and you played them pretty close back to back right before the rankings. So you had to blow everyone out to be in the top 4 to start. But they can make their way up there.